Hi guys, Zach here with another Command & Conquer Red Alert video. In this game I'm playing a 3v3 match on the map Arena Valley Extreme. I'm starting in the bottom right position, playing as the Soviets. I've just had a glance over and I can see my allies are on the same side of the map as me. And it was random positions, so I didn't know that to start with. So it's always a good thing to have a check and find out where your allies are. And that gives you an idea of where our opponents are. And I think our three opponents will be on the top of the map. Although one could be in a middle position, you never know. And I've just mentioned that in the chat. Now, I'm just taking my infantry right up above my base to start with. And I'm going to try and get to that pass, which sort of links the bottom and the top of the map. And what you can see at the start is I did move my MCV to the left. And it's just so I can be on this ore patch that I'm on now, because it has a few more gems and it makes the start a little bit easier than if I just expanded straight upwards. And now I'm getting my war factories out. Now aftermath units is on, so after I build my second war factory, I'm going to get, that means I'll have no more bonuses if I do build any more war factories, so I won't be doing that in this game. And you can see I've got to this pass quite early on and I'm able to get a bit of map visibility, which is really, really good because it's going to allow me to see what my opponents are doing and give me a bit of a warning if any of my opponents are going to attack me early on. So now I've got my first war factory. I'm going to go for quite an economic start, going with 2 ore trucks, and then I'm going to be going onto heavy tanks. And you can see we're getting an awful lot of visibility here. And there you can see Orange is getting the first war factory down. And they're a bit behind me, so I know I've got a bit of breathing space. And that's one of the benefits of just getting that early visibility on your opponent's base. You can see what's going on. You can see what they're doing. And I think, judging by where the base is positioned, they did move the MCV a bit at the start, possibly. So that'll have delayed them a little bit. I was delayed as well actually with my MCV because I did move it, and you can see I'm expanding upwards. I've got my first ore truck out of the war factory, and that's just mining off that ore patch, and I'm going to just send all my 3 ore trucks to that bottom ore patch, and I'm going to be building another ore refinery. So what I'm going to be working towards now, because usually what you do is you work towards a 3rd war factory when aftermath units are switched off, but I'm going to be working towards getting a Tesla coil and then getting shock troopers. But shock troopers do take a lot of ore, so I am going to need to be very careful with that. And you can just see my infantry there being a little bit annoying on that base. And you can see Orange has got a small light tank there, and you can see Yellow still not responding to that little trooper firing on his base. And you can see I'm just building heavy tanks, and I'm just having a look at Orange there, and you can see that, I don't know, I'm going to just take 3 tanks up there and see what goes on, because it doesn't seem like Yellow's responding at all. And I'm going to take my other tanks to defend that gap, and you can see Orange doing some long distance mining there, and that infantry still firing on that construction yard. And you can see Yellow's doing a big attack, and my teammate in the middle is quite a new player, so I'm going to need to do an attack on Yellow and stop that from happening and just force him back into his base. So we're going to have 3 tanks there, and looks like we're going to get the construction yard down, and it goes down. And now we're going to go for the power plants, because when someone's low on power, they're going to be much slower building. But you can see Orange now coming in to fight, and also Yellow pulling back, and you can see his tanks are coming back into his base. But I have managed to get 2 power plants down, so I do think he will be low on power. So that's a really bad for Yellow. He still has 1 power plant left, so he will still have some building speed, and he still has his ore refineries left. And we're going to see what he does now, because what I'm going to have to be very careful of is the counter, because whenever you go for an attack on someone's base, they can all counter after it, and also he's going to have Orange's help. So I'm just doing some attacks on these Orange ore trucks, and you can see that truck is going to go down. So one of those trucks is down, the other is okay, and now I've got a Tesla coil in my base, just to give me a bit of defense, because they are using light tanks, and light tanks are very weak against Tesla coils. But we have to see this battle at the moment. What's going on is I've got heavy tanks, and it's looking alright for me. I'd say it's probably around even, although those troops might be able to tilt it slightly in our opponent's favour. Because you can see my heavy tanks are getting whittled down a bit, but I've also managed to whittle down my opponent's forces. But you can see now orange transition into medium tanks, which I'd say is a good idea, especially given the circumstances with my base with a Tesla coil in, because medium tanks are more stronger against Tesla coils because they have more hit points. And you can see my forces have been whittled down, and I'll need to be very, very careful. I'm also building a barracks now, so I can start building those shock troopers as I have been, and you can see the first shock troopers coming in. But yellow is going for the bottom of my base. And I do have to be careful because that Tesla coil isn't defending that construction yard, and he could get a construction yard kill. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take that construction yard further up to my base in the safety of that Tesla coil. And you can see those yellow tanks going straight for the bottom of my base, and I do suspect they are looking for that construction yard and not finding it since I've just moved it up further up. And you can see they're seeing that Tesla coil now, and I think they're going to stay near the bottom of my base because they're not going to last long with that, especially with the number of tanks I've got. So we're going for those light tanks in my base, and I'm going to see if I can deploy my Tesla coil, my construction yard here in the safety of my Tesla coil, so it's safe there. And you can see that orange are coming down with their medium tanks, but you can just see how much that Tesla coil does to those light tanks. And I've also got Tesla troops in my base as well, which are going to provide even more defense. And I think he was going for the attack on that Tesla coil there with a couple of light tanks, but I don't think they did much damage at all. And you can see now orange going through my base, trying to go for my power, but I've got plenty power at the moment because I am building another Tesla coil, and that's going to make no difference at all. And now we've got another Tesla coil. I'll put it further down my base, so I've got my base much better protected now. And now we're going to be bringing our tanks back up to the top of the map. But we can see that orange has got a big army coming up. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our heavy tanks to that pass that sort of connects the bottom and top of the map. And you can see us having a lot of Tesla troops now, and they're going to make a big difference. So we're in a really good position in this fight. And now let's get our radar dome up. And what on earth is going on? You can see that on the left of the map, green is absolutely hammering it. We can see our person on our bottom left is completely decimated, and now green is attacking our middle opponent and is getting very close to our base. So we have to finish off this fight very quickly. But what we're going to check out is we're going to check out what happened earlier on in the game. So let's see, how on earth did this happen? We can see green there with 3 war factories. That's not good because obviously, as I said earlier on, aftermath units is switched on, so he's not going to get any bonuses from that 3rd war factory. It doesn't look like he's following the plan for 3 war factories now anyway, because you'd be usually building another ore refinery before that pillbox. And you can see now that Cyan, Eric, is going up with his heavy tanks. You can see he's got quite a strange base setup. He's actually expanding his base north. It might be a good idea actually, because then I guess you're able to expand out of that more easily. But you can see, now we can see that green has got more light tanks. He's just outnumbers Eric so much, and what Eric should have done there is pull right back and build a Tesla coil in his base. But he's in trouble now, because no matter how well he micros, those light tanks are just too great a number, and they're going to absolutely decimate his heavy tanks. So now he's in trouble. He's trying to buy some time, I think, by bringing that heavy tank up to the top of the base. Probably the best thing to do in this situation, but I think Paradius is just leaving it for now, and he's got another heavy tank going throughout his base. But you can see now Paradius going on the attack, and this is bad news for Eric, because as we could see, he's lost most of his heavy tanks, and we'll have to see what has he got at his base. He's got a service depot, and that's probably the wrong move at this point. He needs to be getting that Tesla coil down so he can start doing some real damage to those light tanks. So we can see that blue is going in to help him. He sent a couple of light tanks. He sent another 4 light tanks into the south part of his base, and you can see those light tanks doing a lot of damage. And that that ore refinery at the top of his base has been destroyed. Those light tanks are still great in number. What Paradise needs to be careful of, though, is not losing his tanks and losing something to the counter. But you can see his numbers are so great right at this current time that he's in a very good position, squashing a lot of those infantry that Eric was building. And now he's going for the construction yard, and that construction yard does go down, and now he's going for the war factory. We can remember, though, Eric does have a service depot, so he can possibly build another construction yard. But now he's going for the ore refinery, and that's the second ore refinery that's going to go down. And now Eric is going to be out of ore. Because his ore trucks, you can see they're all stationary because he's got no more ore refineries left. And now he's going for the barracks. Paradise is absolutely decimating Cyan's Eric's base. And we have to see what Eric can do. He's still got a lot of tanks, so he can still do some damage to those light tanks. And you can see those light tank numbers starting to fall. But what Paradise does have is he does have a fully functioning base, and he does have good production with 2 war factories. And you can see now that that barracks is now down, so now Eric cannot build any more troops. Although he doesn't really have the ore to do so, you can see he's got about nil ore now, and he's just managed to build a construction yard. Unfortunately, that's not going to be of much use because he's not going to be able to build a ore refinery, and his tank numbers seem to be falling. And you can see he's sort of like bringing that construction yard up off the side of the map. And you can see now Paradise is pulling back. So what I can see on my radar dome is that I can see that Blue is doing an attack on his base. And we can see that Eric's MCV is safe for now. But let's have a look at what's going on in that base. And you can see that Blue has got 4 light tanks up there. But that's not going to be enough because he's got pillboxes. He's got his army coming back. And it was a nice attempt, but it wasn't close in the end. And we can see that now that Green is going to come back down and Blue is going to be in trouble. But Eric is managing to get his MCV away. Green is on his way and his army is large. You can just see it streaming from the radar dome right down the map. And we're going to have to see if Blue can defend against this. He needs to gather his tanks together, and those tanks are left out, and they're going to go down very, very quickly. And now Green is starting to send, I think he's sending a tank in just I don't know if that was for a bit of scouting. And they're starting to engage. And you can see that Blue is losing quite a lot here. But Green seems to disengage, and now he's going to the south of the map. And I think he's going to go for the base. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to my game view, because we're at about the same place where we left off when I got the radar dome. So back to my view. And I could see what was happening at Blue's base. I decided to start taking my red tanks and Tesla troops back down to my base to give Blue a little bit of support. One of the problems is that Soviet armies move very, very slowly. And that makes it very hard to do anything very quickly. You can see how slowly they move compared to the Allied units. I am going to have to bring some of my tanks back to that little gap, just so I can defend against Yellow, who had a few tanks around that area. But we're engaging now, and you can see my shock troopers doing a little bit of damage to those tanks. And those tanks, they're going to go for the construction yard, and they're going to get it down, and yes, it goes down. So Blue has lost his construction yard. That's a big blow, and now we're defending at that gap. You can see the fight there is going very well. One of the big advantages Soviets have at this stage of the game is the Tesla troops. They just do so much damage compared to other units. It makes it very, very hard for other armies to engage with them. That's what happened with Yellow's tanks earlier, and there Yellow's last tank goes down. Orange has a large army coming down. I'm going to need to get my troops back quickly in order to engage with this. Blue is also sending some troops as well, some tanks, to help with this, because Blue still has a lot of units left on the map, and it's a good thing that he's still fighting, even though he's lost his ore refineries and he's lost his construction yard. So there's no way he can come back into the game fully, but he's still helping with what tanks he has left. And now we are going to go for the attack, I think, on Yellow, because what I'm thinking is Yellow has very little left, so it's going to be easy pickings just to take out his ore refineries and the rest of his power. Once I take out those ore refineries, there's no coming back for Yellow, because as you saw earlier in the game, I did destroy his construction yard. We'll have to see, is Yellow going to defend? We can see he's bringing his tanks back, but he just doesn't have enough tanks to defend, and his allies are not helping him. therefore his last ore refinery is going to go down, and that's good, effectively yellow out of the game. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go to green's base. We can see there, green has a big substantial army. He's also been able to build up quite a big base, so we're sending our tanks through now. We're going to be going for all the major buildings. We're going to go first for the war factories. This third war factory actually won't make any difference, but when I take out another war factory, that'll half his war factory number and his building speed will be reduced. And now we're just going through, taking out all his main buildings. That's his ore refinery at the top of the map, destroyed. He's also got another one there actually, further up. But we're just taking out his buildings, and green is not defending at all for the time being. And we're going to take out his construction yard, and that goes down. That is a big hit, because he won't be able to build any more of these buildings yet. And you can see blue is in the base with me. But I think blue's base is being destroyed, and I don't think blue has much left. And you can see that yellow is now coming to my base. You can see that green is destroying blue's base there. But blue's doing all he can, and blue is officially out of the game. But green doesn't have much left either, and we're going to have to try and destroy these buildings ASAP, because we can see that green, yellow and orange all are at my base. So this is a bit of a fight going on here. It's also a base race as well. We'll have to try and hopefully save our buildings, but the best thing we can do now is just destroy green, and that'll at least take one of the biggest players out of this game. And it looks like that's his last building. And radar door goes down, and green is officially out of the game. Let's go back to our base. It looks like yellow's being destroyed by the Tesla coils, but orange are pushing further through. We've got our power plant there to get our power back online, because our power was down for a second there. Oh, we can see orange has got, yellow's got one tank left, and now orange is going for those power plants. And that's probably a good move at this stage, because I am low on power. I am actually, and my economy is not doing too well, so I'm having trouble building back up. Orange is sending more troops back into my base, and this could be bad. They're getting rid of that power plant there. But my power plant is almost built, and we'll need to get that back up ASAP as orange push further into my base. And those Tesla coils are doing massive damage. Orange is trying to destroy that power plant. I think they pushed too far in, and those tanks are getting absolutely decimated. They're sort of in the middle of my base, and that is a really bad idea, because you can see those tanks are being taken completely out. And that was a big mistake from orange, losing a lot there. And you can see them taking those tanks now to the other part outside my base. And I'm just going to go and engage, because what you can see is my army has built up, and it is quite big now. That I've had a bit of time to build up, because what orange has been doing is they've been trying to destroy my buildings, and that's just giving me a chance to build my army up and make it larger and larger and larger. And now I've got a really big tank force, which is much bigger than orange's, and orange, I think, isn't going to really be able to survive much longer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tanks up to their base. We can see that yellow was bringing some medium tanks in. I'm just keeping an eye on them where they appear. And we can see that stranded orange tank there. It's not going to last very long. And you can see those two remaining war factories for yellow. And yellow is in the bottom of my base with his medium tanks. The problem is those medium tanks aren't going to be able to get very far, because I've got those Tesla coils in the middle of my base ready to defend if they try and push in at all. And we're just trying to defend here. I mean, I'm not too worried about these 4 medium tanks. We'll be able to take them out. I've got 2 heavy tanks there defending, and we're now able to push into orange's base. And I think this is last remaining war factory. Let's see if we can take it. Oh, well, he's got 2 left actually. So we're going to take out this war factory, and then he's got a second war factory further up. And you can see I'm just building more power plants just to make sure I don't get low on power again, because that's what they seem to be targeting, because that way they know they can get inside my base. I'm taking out a large power plant for orange, and now I'm going to go for that second war factory. And yellow is down to 1 medium tank, which he's trying to pull away. But that one, oh, he's got another medium tank actually at the other side of my base, although it is on red health. And now we're going to go for that ore refinery. And there's yellow's last war factory, and we'll be able to take that out, and then yellow will officially be out of the game. And it's looking really bad for orange and yellow at the moment. There's no way they're going to be able to come back into this, I don't think. But you can see that orange has managed to take out my construction yard. So that was a bit of a win, I guess. But I don't think at this stage it's going to make any difference. We're going for orange's last buildings. I'm just having a little look around now just to see if orange has anything left. Because now I've lost my construction yard. Any buildings I do lose, I won't be able to build back up. And we can see he's got a little tank there. And he has got a couple of medium tanks there. So I'm going to try and stop them destroying that power plant. And I'm able to do that. And let's go back up to orange's base. We can see I'm trying to destroy that light tank. And that light tank goes down. I'm going to go back up to orange's base. And there's no way he's going to be able to come back into this at all. He's got no war factories. He's got one ore refinery left in the barracks. But a few troops are going to be able to do nothing against this large tank force. And that is his construction yard down. We'll take out his barracks and the rest of his buildings. So what a match. That looked very, very close in the middle there, where there was all three other teams at my base surrounding me. We were able to take out yellow. Well, we took out yellow's construction yard early on, which probably saved the game for us. They weren't able to build up. We managed to take out their other buildings in the middle of the game. And then there was green, where we managed to destroy their base. It might have been better if green had defended. It might have changed things, although blue did have a big force. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video.